Christian McLean. He was born on November 18, 1978, and was raised by a single mother in Newfoundland. But how did Chris end up becoming the host of Total Drama Island? You see, his journey in television had a really weird trajectory. When he was younger, most likely a teen, he joined a boy band called Fametown. He pursued his music career for a while until a big conflict took place between him and his colleagues. After that, Chris was forced to sign a gag order. From now on, he couldn't use his past songs or reveal any information about the band. So, what happened after that? He changed his plan and entered the Hollywood world. As his first move in the industry, he participated in a movie series about talking cats. Doesn't sound like a good idea, huh? Well, those movies were absolute failures. He had to try something new, something bigger. So, he decided to play in a movie about a badminton player called The Flipper caught in a zombie apocalypse. Now, this movie actually reveals something very interesting about Chris, because here, he wears a uniform that resembles Jerry's from Redonkulous Race. Now, why is this important? Well, a theory within the fandom is that Pete, Jerry's tennis rival, is actually Chris's father, and that Chris wore Jerry's uniform to piss off his deadbeat father. But how did this movie affect Chris's life? Well, it actually ended his acting career. So, he decided to change his plan one more time. This time, he went for a hosting career and worked on a bunch of TV shows along the way. Yet the only one that was mentioned throughout the series was a cooking show called Keep It Plain with Chris McLean. Unfortunately for Chris, this show ended after just one episode, in which he presented a plain recipe for white rice. After that, Chris randomly stumbled upon Chef Hatchet when he used to sell street meat outside of a bus station. So, what do you think happened after that? Well, from now on, Chris started to host the show that was gonna change his life, Total Drama. In 2007, Chris was not only the show's host, but also its writer, background designer, director, and executive producer. So basically, he was Total Drama. But he didn't stop there. During the show, he also tried developing new skills.
I can't wait to get my pilot's license!
But after 26 episodes, Total Drama Island came to its end. So Chris pulled up his last trick and made the contestants compete one more time for the big prize. But no one expected this to happen with the money. However, Chris managed to turn this event to his advantage. He invited a part of the contestants to participate in a brand new season, Total Drama Action. Season 2 was organized in an abandoned film lot somewhere in Toronto, Ontario. This time, he changed the theme and made every challenge based on different Hollywood movies. But then, a series of problems started to pop up. Courtney started a lawsuit process against the show, which caused big problems with the budget. The situation got so bad that Chris even stopped paying Chef. But that wasn't his only problem. During this time, he also started to lose his mental sanity. Starting with the episode 310 to Crazy Town, Chris begins to have legal problems because of his challenges, which were getting too violent. At the same time, Bridget and Jeff started their own show called The Aftermath. How do you think Chris reacted to this? Well, he was not happy, especially because he didn't know about The Aftermath's production.
Chris McLean is the best host ever! How'd you get your own show? You stink!
Yo, Chris, you on the webcam?
But he had to let go of this and continue with the show, especially because a new opportunity popped up. During one of the challenges, he came up with a new business idea to sell Princess Courtney CDs and dolls. Yet, one tiny problem came around. Courtney's lawyers wanted 80% of the profits.
You serious?
So, he dropped this idea and tried to sell Beth dolls instead. But before that, he gave Beth a contract that stated she would get 0% of the profits. Good business, yet no one bought any dolls. Still an interesting experience that he will use in the future. How? Well, a few episodes later, it is revealed that he actually wrote an autobiography, which he gave to Courtney in the Rock and Rule episode. After that, the show pretty much continued its normal trajectory, and Total Drama Action came to its end. You see, this is the moment when Chris McLean started to panic. because now all the contestants were already famous and fed up with his challenges, so he had to find a way to keep the rodeo going. But what could he do? A. Try to be nicer with the contestants, or B. Hire a brand new cast to piss them off.
I'd say later, but there isn't gonna be a later.
So, Chris's plan worked, and the contestants wanted to return for one more season.
Total drama!
Yeah, that name was scrapped. But two things were revealed about this season. The cast had to sing from time to time, and every episode takes place in a different location. They even go to Newfoundland, where Chris finally reunites with his cousin, Chris McLean. Now, in this season, Chris's sanity becomes even worse. He shows no remorse about Ezekiel's transformation into a feral, makes the challenges even more dangerous, and puts the interns into lethal situations. But from a professional point of view, business was booming. Literally.
My beautiful plane!
But eventually, Chris finds a way to keep the show going and makes the remaining contestants race to Hawaii. During the finale, the price is burnt down and Alejandro is heavily injured. So Chris puts him into the drama machine and makes him sign some papers in order to avoid any more legal problems. After season 3 ended, the OG cast was still willing to participate in another season, but Chris decided that it was time to make a change. So he got a new one. Unfortunately, in Revenge of the Island, Chris's madness was even worse. The challenges got more and more dangerous, especially because of the toxic waste dumped on the island. During this season, he carved a mountain to look like his face and called it Mount Chrismore. But he made one crucial mistake. He brought Duncan as a guest in the same episode.
Now that was me.
The toxic waste had a big impact on the show, as it caused the mutation of both a contestant and an intern. Yet this time, Chris's actions finally caught up with him. After the season's finale, he was eventually arrested. The time in prison only accentuated his madness.
Lightning slips past Duncan! The heat is on! Yeah! Look at that! That's what I'm talking about!
Eventually, Chris was bailed out of jail by the producers, and season 5 started rolling. Things started to look good for him again, until episode 100 of Total Drama. Even though this episode starts as a happy milestone for him, he eventually gets kidnapped by Ezekiel, who is now in a worse state than ever. Yet, right when he was about to be dumped into toxic waste, the contestants eventually manage to save him. So everything goes back to normal, the season continues and eventually comes up to its end. But because of the machine Chef used in the final episode, our beloved Camp Wawanakwa eventually sinks. So this became a weird period for Total Drama. But since the show was a success, Chris received numerous offers to continue. He even got the opportunity to make a Japanese version of the show, yet he couldn't find enough locals to participate, so it was eventually cancelled. This left him no other choice but to return to the Canadian version of the show. But Camp Wawanakwa was gone, so what could he do? Well, find a new island. Pakatu Island became the location of the new season, which also included a new cast. But here's the thing, he didn't exactly discover this island, he actually built it. In the final episodes, it was revealed that this was actually a fully mechanical island. Not the best idea. Like the badminton movie and the cooking show, this season represented the end of an era for Chris McLean. For the next 10 years, we only get to see him again in a short cameo during the Redonkulous race. Chris's story as Total Drama's host seems to have ended, but then something unexpected happened. 15 years after the first episode aired, Total Drama returned. A reboot with a brand new cast was announced. After all these years away from the show, Chris returned to his original charisma. Starting this season, he even promotes Chef as his co-host. The challenges were good, the contestants were great, and the season was an overall success. Things went so well that he actually invited all of them for a rematch. So, only 1 year later, Total Drama Island 2024 took place. Here, he stumbled upon some difficulties, as one of the contestants managed to steal an intern uniform and get access to crucial information about the challenges, but he managed to eventually catch her and punish her in the next episode. Total Drama Island 2024 represented another big success in Chris's career, but instead of inviting this cast for another season, he ended the season by saying this.
But no matter how hard we try, it always ends with someone happy. Well, hopefully we can change that on the next season of Total Drama Island!
So even though the Reboot cast might not return, Chris's story as Total Drama's host continues. I wonder what Chris's life would have looked like if there would have been no Total Drama. Fortunately, I know just the video that can answer this question.